The next time I have to come in here, I'm cracking skulls.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Good old Commander Sparks here with another Mordau Loadout video for you folks. And yes sir, as you can see from the title, we have the Brute. Just want to take a quick second and say thank you guys so much for the support on the first video. I really appreciate it. And just like the first video and the format that we had going, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing in this video and go over the equipment and perks and all that stuff first. And then we're going to go in-game and show you some techniques and tactics and tricks and tips and all kinds of stuff to make sure that you can utilize this build to its fullest potential. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Brute. Moving on first with the perks, we have Tenacious, which is arguably, in my opinion, the best perk in the entire game for the amount of points it costs. Tenacious allows your passive health regeneration to be 66% faster. So if you actually aren't aware, in-game, if you don't use any stamina, you don't run, you don't swing, do nothing, and your health is low, your health will actually regenerate if you don't use any stamina for a specific amount of time. With this perk enabled, it's actually 66% faster, so you can get back in the fight after cooling down for a little bit. So it's definitely a must-have for this build and pretty much every build that I can think of if you have the point to spare for a perk. So definitely pick that for this build. Moving right along for this build, I decided to go with a 2-3-3 for the armor, as we definitely want more armor and less mobility with this build. I really kind of tried to tailor and customize this build in the way it looks to make him look more brutish. So I'm going to zoom in and you guys can look at what I have equipped if you want to match it. But the whole premise of this is that you have a 2 for the head, 3 for the torso, and 3 for the legs. So you can basically match it however you want. And on to an important part that allows you to fight, we have the weapon, which is the Maul. The Maul is an extremely slow swinging weapon, but extremely powerful as well. It takes some getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, you are cracking walnuts left and right, baby. And boy, does it feel good. Much like the War Axe, the damage on this thing is completely towards the top. And in my opinion, it gives me the most empowering feeling of any weapon in the entire game, even in Chivalry back in the day. There's just something about swinging that thing when it comes down on someone's head, you just feel like a badass. And if you have any extra gold and you want to make the head look badass, I highly recommend the Bone Crusher. And as an added bonus, this is completely up to your discretion, but I figured I'd throw it in here just in case. I find it hilarious with this character to use the cruel voice preset with a lower pitch because he just sounds just like a badass.
On my order, follow, retreat!
And if for added effect, if you want, you can do the rough blind eye, and everything else is pretty much up to your preference. But I just wanted to throw that in just in case somebody wanted to follow that, because I know some people are specific about that. But that pretty much rounds up all the equipment, all the perks, and everything you need to know about this build. Now, in the latter portion, we're going to go straight into the game, and I'm going to give you guys some techniques on how to use this baby. So let's go there now. The thing I enjoy and love so much about the Maul is how versatile of a weapon it actually is. Now we know it does a lot of damage, yes, the speed is slow, and the reach is really not that good. But the beauty of it is that every single swing counts and every single swing is viable and actually matters with this weapon. There's a couple clips that I got of me using the Maul to make this guide, and I want to showcase them and show them to you and give you my thought process on how you can use these swings to your advantage in certain situations. This first clip demonstrates how deadly and deceptive an underhand swing with the Maul can actually be. You can see that I'm about to be 2v1'd, with both players advancing on me to try and strike me. Thankfully, they both miss, and take note of the fact that I'm stepping backwards with my positioning. I see the player on the right start to step back as the one on the left tries to charge me. While still stepping back, I make it look as if I'm going to strike the player on the right, but quickly do an underhand to the player on the left, killing him. I find it extremely viable to step backwards and then step forwards into a player with an underhand because they don't expect it. It's also a lot harder to see this coming from beneath rather than over the top for them to block it in time. Much like the War Axe from the first video, the Maul is extremely good when using feints and attack combos to land hits. Again, I really like using a stab and then morphing it into an overhead, allowing the opponent to block first and then having the overhead already right there ready to hit them. A great combo I've also found is when you can land an overhead and then quickly follow it up with a stab to kill your opponent. You can even vice versa that and have it to where you stab them first and then overhead and it's a quick kill. So in other words, the stab with the Maul is actually really good. And if he could be sneaky deaky like, you can get up behind other players and get hit in, or at least even kill them if they're not suspecting you be there. Positioning is really key with this weapon. And players without a helmet, let me tell you, they don't stand a chance. A recommendation I can give to you guys if you use the Maul is to be extremely careful and pick your battles wisely. If you're cracking walnuts and you're feeling good and you get overzealous and overconfident, you can find yourself being in a 3v1 or whatever the case may be. Because it does swing so slow, isn't always the best weapon when dealing with multiple people that are all trying to fight you at the same time. It can be done, but you have to be very selective on the targets that you're hitting at the precise timing. The Maul is an extremely fun and rewarding weapon to use, and this was a fun video to make for you guys. I hope these tips and tricks and everything helped out with the Maul and this build. If you guys like the video, I greatly appreciate it as it helps me out, and I'll definitely be coming out with more videos like this. If you happen to stumble across this video and you're not subscribed, I highly consider subscribing if you'd like this type of content. I also do plenty of other content on this channel, so be staying tuned for that. And as well, I've been starting to dabble into Twitch TV, live streaming, and all that type of stuff. So if you're a fan of that type of content, don't be afraid to give me a follow over on my Twitch page. I really greatly appreciate it. Be looking out for the next loadout video and other Mordau videos on this channel. And this is good old Commander Sparks signing out. Have a good one, everybody, and I'll see you later.